All right, let's get started. Now, first of all, thank you very much for coming here to share this with me. And today I'm going to talk about the vitamin C and integrative medicine in the prevention and treatment of COVID-19. And as you see at the bottom of this, I like to thank all the scientists and doctors in the International Society for also molecular medicine. I think I saw Dr. Gonzalez, Dr. Michael Gonzalez here, and he's been great. And here are some of the, at the very beginning of the COVID-19 breakout in China, we formed a international medical VC medical support team. This is the list of those. And it's not, this was early on. And we see a few worldwide experts on vitamin C. You see Dr. Thomas Levy here. You see Dr. Yanagisawa, the president of ISOM, and Dr. Andrew Shao here, and a few others here. Now, first of all, let's review some of the characteristics of COVID-19 virus. Now, first of all, it is an RNA virus. What does that mean? That means that RNA is a single-strand nuclear, the nucleic acid peptide. I mean, RNA. And it is very easy to mutate because it's not double-stranded and it doesn't have a correct copy once it's mutated as a reference. And as far as we know, there are at least 8, actually some reports showing several dozens of different strains. And it is very easy to spread, and it's mainly a respiratory virus. It starts from your lungs first. And in the lungs, the key pathologies are it causes pneumonia, acute lung injury, and acute respiratory distress syndrome, and some of people may die, as you know. What does all these mean? Now, let's look a little bit at the the epidemics and the pandemics worldwide. It's very disturbing when I did this. So Wikipedia has a list of the epidemics and pandemics. It listed 98 epidemics and pandemics in the 200 years of 19th and 20th century. 98, almost 100. And I counted, out of those 98, 14 of them caused 1,000 deaths or more. So I call it major ones, easy for easy comparison. Now, if you go to the current, current century, 21st century, we are barely 20 years. I think we are only 19 years and 3 months into it. There are already 63 epidemics and pandemics, which is roughly about 65% of the 200 years in the past. 11 out of these 63 caused deaths of greater than 1,000. Now, this is very disturbing. From this data, it appears that there's an increasing trend of epidemics and pandemics worldwide. Now, this is very puzzling. We would think that the epidemics, pandemics of viral bacteria origin have to do with the economic and the sanitary conditions. We have to also admit that the worldwide economy and the sanitary conditions today are much better than 200 years ago, 100 years ago, right? However, we are seeing an increasing trend. There seems to be more and more of such epidemics and pandemics. Why? Now that's a question, and I don't know the answer. I may have my suggestion, but now, okay, next. So look at the strategy. Now, if you remember, 17 years ago, we had a SARS, mostly in China and the Southeast Asia. And about 7-8 years ago, we had a MERS, that's mostly Middle Eastern areas. And also we had other Ebola, Marburg, or these, influenza, or these outbreaks. Now, we panicked when SARS hit us in some areas in the world. And we panicked when MERS hit us in parts of the world. And we're panicking right now worldwide in this COVID-19 pandemic. And so all I hear is the world's leaders in politics, in worldwide organizations, science, medicine, and science, medicine, and the industry. All we're talking about, all I hear is vaccine. Now let's look at a vaccine. We all know vaccine research and development takes a long time to reach the clinic. And for example, this time COVID-19. Early on, we didn't pay attention, or some people didn't pay serious attention to it. And by the time it got very serious, which is in short couple of weeks only, couple of weeks, and it widely spread in many parts of the world. And so vaccine is always reactive to an event like this. And people started studying COVID-19 virus back probably in January, which is only a couple of months ago. And we know studying these viral outbreaks, isolated the virus, and develop a vaccine, and then you have to run through a clinical trial, making sure it's safe and it works, and then you manufacture the vaccines for everybody to use. It takes a long time. And a conservative estimate, it probably is about 2-3 years. And what I can say is that we don't have a vaccine for COVID-19 now, and we probably won't see it anytime soon. And by the time, we know the world has already lost a lot of lives, and our economy is in the tank. And if this goes on for another 6 months or 1 year, I don't know what will happen to worldwide economy. So the vaccine strategy appears to be a problem. We didn't have a SARS vaccine, we didn't have a MERS vaccine, we don't have a COVID-19 vaccine. And if we don't change this thinking and mentality and strategy, next time, hopefully not, but it will hit us again. Another major epidemic or pandemic will hit us again. And we've been hit 63 times this century in the short 20 years, okay? So when it happens again, we will panic again. Now this is interesting, this is important. So what I'm saying is that we need a new thinking, we need a new strategy for the prevention and control of worldwide epidemics and pandemics. We need a strategy that is effective and is not pathogen specific and is widely available and inexpensive. And why is that? Is that if we have a viral or pathogen specific like COVID-19, we can only develop it after the outbreak. And that's, again, reactionary. That's too late. We need to have something that's proactive. When that happens, we have it. And it also has to be readily available and inexpensive. So today I'm going to talk about vitamin C and integrative medicine measures. And these are the measures that uniquely qualify. And I'm not aware of too many measures like this existing today. Now, let's review the key pathology of COVID-19 a little bit. And COVID-19 primarily, as I mentioned, affects respiratory system and causing pneumonia, acute lung injury, acute respiratory distress syndrome, and some of them may lead to deaths. And pay attention to this, is that acute lung injury, ARDS, sepsis, and multi-organ failure, these are all non-specific pathologies. What I mean by that is that many viruses or bacteria, other toxins can cause these pathologies. These are the common pathways to more severe conditions like this. So if this provides an excellent target for us to manipulate, to manage. And so because the ARDS and acute lung injury, please mute yourself, okay, because of the background, you will interfere with others. And so the COVID-19, the underlying pathology primarily is cytokine storm or increased oxidative stress These again are non-specific mechanisms. So if we target the increased oxidative stress early on, and we may be able to prevent these patients from developing more serious conditions, and we can save lives, and the world doesn't have to panic like what we are. And again, vitamin C and other antioxidants are promising agents for this purpose. Please mute yourself. I hear lots of background noise. And also, please do not write on the screen. Okay. Yesterday, I mentioned in my NIH talk that vitamin C deficiency is a key finding in many chronic and acute illnesses. And here, some of the data showing here, the vitamin C deficiency is common in ICU patients, so the critical patients. 40% of ICU patients have scurvy level of vitamin C, which is nearly zero, okay, very low. To diagnose the literature reports, I'm never seeing literally a scurvy, and that I know of. Actually, right now we know I'm seeing scurvy everywhere. People just don't realize that. Is that and the remainder of those 60% patients in ICU, sepsis patients, have vitamin C deficiency, severe deficiency. About half of the non-septic ICU patients also have vitamin C deficiency. And like I mentioned earlier, my primary interest actually is in the chronic disease management or prevention or anti-aging, because as you know, I'm approaching the age and I want to. Life is good. I want to live long and healthy. So prevention is worth a lot to me. So I'm more interested in the chronic disease management in an integrative medical way or also molecular way. Now, so we know vitamin C deficiency also widely exists in diseases like metabolic syndrome, diabetes, hypertension, and coronary artery disease, as well as cancer. Okay, those are very critical. Now, talk about pneumonia, the key pathologies of COVID-19. So we know literature shows a lot of abundant evidence that high-dose IV vitamin C prevents and improves pneumonia. Here is a review article about 2-3 years ago that shows that the vitamin C cuts the risks of catching colds by 50%. And this is particularly true in physically active adults and people under stress. And there are a lot of clinical randomized control trials study show that the high-dose vitamin C is effective in various conditions, including common colds, pneumonia, and pneumonia treatment, and also in tetanus. Here, I might add, there's a book some of you may know by Dr. Thomas Levy, a great friend of mine, and also a very active expert in the International Society for Orthomolecular Medicine. And he wrote a book called Primal Panacea, which is actually an excellent review book. We know there are review papers in the literature, but this topic is too big for one paper to review. And here it says, 148 animal studies show VC can alleviate, prevent bacterial infection. Actually, there's a lot more than that. And vitamin C treatment has been used widely in almost every kind of viral or bacterial infection that you can think of. And the Primal Panacea makes a great list of those. And okay, now here's another review of high-dose IV vitamin C that shortens mechanical ventilation. So people in ICU with lung problems, and they will go on mechanical ventilation. And here, when we apply high-dose vitamin C, you can see that high-dose HD-IVC can shorten patients' time on mechanical ventilation by 14 to 25%. The 25% is among the patients who receive IV vitamin C in the doses of 1 to 6 grams a day. Again, this is low dose. And of course, in the conventional medicine definition, this is high dose, but for us, this is low, very low actually. But even at that low dose, 1 to 6 grams, vitamin C can reduce the mechanical ventilation time by 25%. That's very significant. And also here, high dose vitamin C can prevent multi-organ failure. Again, this is a great review article a couple of years ago that shows that people at ICU shows very low vitamin C levels, nearly approaching zero, and high dose vitamin C at the 200 milligram per kilogram body weight, which is not very high again. Okay, this is 0.2 gram per kilogram of body weight. Now, for somebody who is 50 kilograms body weight, that's only 0.2 times 50, that's 10 grams a day, okay? It's higher than before, 10 grams. For somebody who is 70, that's 14 grams. It's still on a low level altogether. But so even at this low level, okay, 10 to probably 15 grams of vitamin C, it shows plasma vitamin C levels can reach about 3 millimole on day 4. Now let's put that number into perspective. Ordinarily, people eat a balanced diet may be able to achieve a vitamin C plasma level in the blood, vitamin C level in the blood of 70 micromole. 1 millimole is 1,000 times of micromole. So 3 millimole is 3,000 micromole. Okay, that's 3,000 divided by 70, that's about 40 times. Am I right? Yeah, over 40 times higher. So, and for scurvy, again, the vitamin C level is less than 11 micromole. Okay, so even at that 0.2 gram per kilogram body weight, you can achieve a pretty high level of vitamin C plasma level. Now, talking about ARDS. ARDS is the key mechanism of pathology underlying COVID-19 severe critical cases leading to death. So there's been a lot of studies on IV vitamin C in ARDS. This is the first reported trial maybe in 1989. That was probably the first trial. And that there were like 32 patients divided into 2 groups, 16 each. And it shows again, the vitamin C here is only 4 grams a day. So it has some other antioxidants like NAC, selenium, vitamin E in it. The high dose vitamin C group showed a 47% reduction in mortality. Another study in 2016 studied 96 septic patients that showed high dose vitamin C, this time is 6,000 milligram or 6 gram vitamin C. It also has hydrocortisone and thiamine, which is B1. And that cuts the mortality by 32%. And a recently published, probably the largest clinical trial on sepsis and ARDS, and Dr. Fowler talked about this yesterday as well at NIH. This citrus ALI trial is a multi-centered RCT with 167 patients of sepsis and ARDS. And again, the vitamin C level actually is low. It's 50 milligram per kilogram body weight. And that's only a couple of, that's basically 35 or 3.5 grams of vitamin C for somebody who is 70 kilogram in weight. Okay, so that's only a couple of grams of vitamin C. Again, it is slow dose, it's a low dose in our opinion, but even that, it shows the high dose, vitamin C at this level shortens the stay at ICU. It cuts down the mortality rate. Now, let's look at COVID-19. We know COVID-19 is a primary causes pneumonia, ARDS. And so high-dose IV vitamin C has been tried and is still ongoing right now in China. Now, these are the preliminary data and the impressions only, okay? The final data is being tallied and will be published hopefully soon. So in the Shanghai group, and this is up to about 2 weeks ago, I think it was March the 17th. So out of 358 total confirmed cases of COVID-19, about 50 received high-dose IV vitamin C treatment. The doses this time is much higher than these other studies in the past. The doses are 10 grams to 20 grams, 10 grams every 12 hours. And those moderate cases received 10 grams, and those critical cases received about 20 grams. Occasionally, these patients may even receive a bigger bolus dose. Okay. Now, the overall impression right now is that out of those 50 patients, there appears to be a shorter hospital stay of about 5 days compared to a 30-day average hospital stay. And also, no one in the vitamin C group died. There were a total of 3 deaths among those 358, and none of those deaths patients received IVC. And one particular case, very interesting, is that a senior citizen who was rapidly deteriorating into a clinically, it was in the oxygenation index. And so he was receiving a bolus of 50 grams of vitamin C on top of whatever or he was already receiving. So we're talking about 60 to 70 grams of vitamin C. Now this 50 gram of vitamin C was a bolus over 4 hours quickly. And the real-time improvement of the oxygenation index was observed. And again, I didn't put on the slide, which I should, is that no significant side effects was observed. Now, you all know probably there was the world's first high-dose IV vitamin C clinical trial was announced and carried out, or being carried out, at Wuhan, at the Zhongnan Hospital of Wuhan University. And in this IVC, patients were receiving about 24 grams of vitamin C a day, which is much better than before, the dosage rise. And we recommend probably 30 to 60 grams. So this is approaching that level. And there were a total of over 40 cases of confirmed COVID-19 enrolled. And the initial trial design asked for more patients. And luckily and unfortunately, probably, is that the good news is that the COVID-19 epidemic in the China area has been reducing, declining. And the bad news for this trial is that they can't recruit any more patients, which is good for the mankind, for China, for worldwide. And I can talk a little bit later at the end of the talk. So the results are being analyzed, but the preliminary analysis shows the trial has been changed because of the nature of we couldn't recruit more patients. So the impression so far is that the high dose vitamin C seems to be effective, and the laboratory data shows significantly improved inflammatory markers and the metabolic and organ function tests, for example, the liver function tests or renal function tests, all smooth and normal. And so that was the results from the Shanghai and Wuhan area. I also have I have advised and treated some patients on my own, not in the group settings. These are of course anecdotal, both oral and IV, and that appears pretty impressive too. Some of you may know I have reported on the YouTube, which I'm not going to repeat here. And because of the evidence in the literature and also the preliminary data in clinical experience, both Shanghai and Guangdong province. Shanghai is a city that's like Washington, D.C. in the United States. And Guangdong and Shanghai are both major provinces or cities in China. And at least these two cities, I mean, these governments have included officially high-dose vitamin C in the standard of care of COVID-19. Now I know on the website, some major media outlet announces that that's fake news. Now let me tell you officially that's not true. These are official recommendations, the policies widely published on the government website in China. Okay, so so far we talked about the IV vitamin C. Now let's look at, actually I'm more interested in the oral vitamin C. Why? Because I think the more importantly is the vast majority of us, those are in the audience, and we probably, hopefully we won't reach that moderate to critical stage. But how can we prevent the public? How can we treat the public, most of the people, in this COVID-19 and in the future, in common cold as well? Now let's review some of the literature here. Now last year, I think that, this year, I'm sorry, 2020, I think this was published in February. There's an article published in the British Medical Journal, Military Health, a large study coming out of the South Korean Army. There were 1444 South Korean Army recruits. These are young folks, about 22 years of age. They were divided into two groups. Vitamin C group received 6 grams of vitamin C daily. Now that's the dosage I usually recommend. I recommend people to take 5 to 10 grams vitamin C daily. Actually, I've been taking this high dose for many years, okay? Not for preventing COVID-19. I didn't know, I'm not futurist. I didn't know COVID-19 was coming. But I do this for the prevention of chronic disease. At the end, coming back to this trial, the study, at the end of the 30-day training, the VC group showed a 0.6, 0.8-fold, nearly 1 time, 100% reduction in risks of developing common cold. Okay, so there appears to be, plus others in the literature, there appears to be evidence that vitamin C by mouse can prevent colds when the dosage is high enough. And here is a great review a couple of years ago, and that found that vitamin C by mouse can reduce duration and symptoms of colds and may prevent colds. Now, this is a meta-analysis which basically pulled 29 qualified clinical trials in order to, scientifically, all these clinical studies, they have to meet certain criteria. So there were a total of 29 trials that qualified, and mostly are double-blind, randomized control studies. There were a total of 11,360 people involved. And here are some of the major conclusions. One is that low dose, again, 200 milligram daily, to me, that's a joke, okay? 200 milligram daily vitamin C. But even at that level, it can reduce the cold duration in adults by 8%. Imagine it increased by 10 times, 2 grams, or even 50 times, like me. I take 10 grams a day. Well, I can tell you, many other people I have never had a cold in, I don't remember how many years. The same dosage, 200 milligram in children, cuts the duration of cold by 14%. In children, when the dosage is increased to 1 to 2 grams daily, so vitamin C 1 to 2 grams daily in children cuts or reduces cold duration by 18%. Let me tell you a story here. Well, 2-3 years ago right now, there was a 5 or 6 year old kid of my friend who was having cold, runny nose, and low grade temperature. And the grandparents wanted the parents to take him to the hospital. And the parents are big believer, my friends, and a big believer of vitamin C. So he asked me for my help to convince the grandparents, don't go to the hospital. I went, I brought with me some vitamin C. So what I did was poured 5 grams into orange juice and make the kid to drink at the spot. And by the evening time, this was about lunchtime, by evening time, fever is gone, everything is gone. Now, also the trial found vitamin C reduces the severity of common cold. And when the vitamin C dosage is about 8 grams daily, the results are much better. Okay. Now, this is another study about 20 years ago. It's a Swiss study. It's large, involving over 700 college students, young folks about 20 to 30. They were divided into two groups, test groups and control group. And those people, those students who develop symptoms would be given vitamin C or placebo and other. Basically, the vitamin C group were receiving vitamin C, of course. The control group, the other group, were receiving pain relievers or nasal decongestants, like what we ordinarily would, right? The VC group, this is 20 years ago, and very interesting, is that the VC group were receiving high doses of vitamin C. The treatment today we recommend is very similar, is that these people would receive 1,000 milligram or 1 gram of vitamin C every hour for the first 6 hours, and then followed by 1 gram 3 times daily. Okay, so at the end of the study, they concluded that the vitamin C group reduced the cold symptoms by 85%, which is very high, right? And there was another arm of this study, is that in the this is a prospective study, so happened not like a review of the literature, but a perspective. And so those people who did not develop cold symptoms in the test group would be taking were taking vitamin C 1 gram 3 times daily. And the analysis also showed that the vitamin C 3 grams a day appears to be able to reduce the risks of catching cold. And I didn't put on the slides here, which I should probably, is that some of these negative studies in the past that shows that vitamin C is ineffective in preventing or treating colds, they're almost always very low in dosage. So dosage is the key. Anything like the drugs too, like food, right? Food can treat hunger, but if you don't eat enough, it can't. Same thing here. So the dosage is key. Whenever somebody tells you vitamin C doesn't work, check the dosage. Now let's talk about, so so far we've talked about the effectiveness in prevention and treatment of various viral conditions, including COVID-19. Now let's talk about safety issues. Vitamin C is very safe, low dose or high dose, oral or IV, okay? Let's talk about IV. Now, there are a lot of research in the past. Here are listed some major one of them. These are all clinical trials. And I want to mention to you that the NIH, the National Cancer Institute of NIH, published a regular document called PDQ, Physician Data Query. And the PDQ is a sort of like a review document on controversial drugs or molecules. And vitamin C is a frequently discussed discussed topic in the PDQ. So if you Google it, PDQ and vitamin C, you will find these documents. They have these documents for professionals like doctors, and also they have for consumers, easier to read, okay? Now the PDQ lists all these references in there too. Now let me give you this, that high dose vitamin C has been generally well tolerated in clinical trials. This is quote unquote from the NIH document, okay? Now high dose here, we're talking about 1.5 grams per kilogram body weight. What does that mean? For a 70 kilogram body weight, which is only roughly about 150 pounds, 150-pound person in the United States is slim. Okay, we know that. A lot of people are heavier than that. So even for somebody of 150 pounds, that we're talking about 100 grams vitamin C. And so far, you've heard me talking, the dosage used in these clinical treatments and trial has been highest is around 24 grams, right? So here we're talking about 100 grams or higher. Now let me tell you, I use high dose vitamin C in cancer treatment. And I'm also a certified integrative oncologist. And when we treat cancers, the mechanism is different, I have to warn you. that when we treat cancer patients, I usually use up to this high dose. Okay, even at this high dose, 1.5 gram per kilogram body weight, vitamin C is very safe. Okay, no significant side effects. And on this topic, let me briefly mention to you the oral vitamin C. The oral vitamin C is also very safe. The only side effect may be the so-called watery diarrhea. Okay, when you take too much vitamin C, that your gut cannot absorb all of it, you may have a diarrhea. Okay, this is what Dr. Cascott said, bowel tolerance. Okay, and actually, this is a side effect, but also some people like myself use it as a therapeutic effect. I use this bowel tolerance or watery diarrhea as a treatment. I use it for bowel cleansing. A lot of people go to get colonics, or a lot of people have irregular bowel movements or constipation. And actually, I don't use anything else. I use high dose vitamin C and I use magnesium. Those are probably the two most widely deficient, many of them. The vitamin C and magnesium are two major nutrients that many people are deficient of. So with these two, I haven't been there has never been a case that I cannot solve their constipation problems. And so vitamin C is very safe. And let me also share with you that I think many of you are aware that using this vitamin C bowel tolerance treatment, we can treat food poisoning. And if you eat too much, I advise, because here in China, a lot of business people, they have to drink, they have to eat. I tell them, well, some of them for business purpose, but if you don't like what you ate, you go home, take a lot of vitamin C, get rid of it. And vitamin C increases alcohol tolerance because it detoxifies with alcohol and improves the liver function and everything else. Okay, now a few warnings on high dose IV vitamin C. These are very occasional. The first one is very few renal failure have been reported in the literature. These are usually among the patients who have pre-existing renal conditions, renal problems. So for average people, this shouldn't be a concern, but if the patient has complicated particular renal problems, you want to monitor carefully. And you may want to ramp up the vitamin C gradually, and you may even want to measure the plasma vitamin C level. And actually, in our opinion, let me add here, a lot of people on the website and talk about the vitamin C and kidney stone. And actually, vitamin C probably can reduce the kidney stone formation, not increasing it, okay? And those people who develop, there has never been a study that proves vitamin C is the cause of kidney stones. Yes, vitamin C, one of the metabolites of vitamin C is oxalic acid, okay? But the vitamin calcium oxalate is the major kidney stones, okay? But in those people who develop kidney stones, calcium abundance or overloaded calcium is probably the major cause, okay? We believe most or many adults and seniors have too much calcium, particularly if they are supplementing oral calcium. We advise do not supplement calcium. Osteoporosis is not a disease of calcium deficiency, okay? Osteoporosis is a deficiency of vitamin C, magnesium, and hormonal imbalance and other issues, not a deficiency of calcium. This is beyond the topic of this presentation. Now, for people with G6PD deficiency, particularly in the Mediterranean area, and high dose vitamin C should be administered carefully. In general, the lower doses under 10 grams or 15 grams, the vitamin C can still be used without major problem. But you want to screen in a screen for G6P deficiency. Okay, there's a recent article, I think it was last year, by Dr. Merrick that reviewed the literature on G6P deficiency. And the conclusion there is that the lower dose, under 10 grams in particular, you don't have to worry about it. The hemolysis will not happen. And some people ask about oral. Oral vitamin C, we can never reach the level of IV vitamin C. Okay, even IV vitamin C of 10 grams that will not cause a major problem in G6P deficiency. So oral vitamin C supplementation, you cannot reach that level. So we shouldn't worry about it. And also high dose vitamin C will increase the absorption of iron. So people are already high in iron. For example, hemochromatosis patients, we should be careful with high dose vitamin C. Let's talk a little bit about mechanisms. Vitamin C, why it works and how it works. Vitamin C primarily, first of all, Dr. Pauling, as you all know, first proposed that vitamin C may be able to prevent and treat common colds and other viral infections, as well as 1971. And the vitamin C may have direct virucidal effects. So vitamin C may be able to directly kill virus upon contact or nearby. And so primarily through the production of hydrogen peroxide. Vitamin C, upon its oxidation. But basically, vitamin C will be oxidized, and hydrogen peroxide is a byproduct of that. We all know hydrogen peroxide is a household disinfectant. It can kill bacteria, fungi, viruses upon contact. And so vitamin C in vitro, in vivo in our body can increase the production of hydrogen peroxide. Now, again, this is a high dose condition. You need to have a high dose in the blood to have this effect. And vitamin C also improves and boosts our immune mechanism. Okay, primarily by increase the macrophage, neutrophil, basically the immune cells capability. It also makes our immune cells to go to these infected areas. Okay. And also vitamin C may negatively inhibit viral replications, so stop or prevent the viral growth. And as I already mentioned, vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant. It is a powerful and a prototypical antioxidant. Along with other antioxidants, it is able to protect our normal healthy cells from oxidative damage from the cytokine storm or oxidative stress induced by virus, bacteria, and other toxins. And actually, as a matter of fact, as I mentioned, I've been taking oral vitamin C, and also I have been getting IV vitamin C for myself. Yes, I get 20 grams every time I do. Those patients get only 24 grams. I'm a perfectly healthy guy. Well, I hope, but actually I know I am. I get 20 grams. My parents, my sisters. And here I didn't mention, but let me talk about it back Dr. Cathcart and other VC pioneers. Basically, when we are under physical stress, the higher the stress, the more vitamin C will be consumed in our body. Okay, because all these radicals, free radicals, will oxidize our vitamin C. So vitamin C will be consumed very quickly, and that's why in acute and chronic diseases we see vitamin C disappear very, very quickly. Okay, and then the like a scurvy condition will result. And so the more stress we're under, the sicker you are, the more vitamin C you will be able to you will need and you will be able to tolerate. And I have seen this here in COVID-19 patients. So Dr. Cathcart in particular has observed and stated that some people, normally when we take vitamin C by mouth, most people, if you take 5 to maybe 15 grams of vitamin C, you will have a diarrhea. Now, when people get sick, you may take 50 grams, 70 grams, 100 grams, or even 200 grams of vitamin C without a watery diarrhea. Why is that? Is because the vitamin C in the body is consumed very quickly by the abundant free radicals present in your body, and that enables the GI the absorption from the GI tract. Okay, so that is the bowel tolerance actually is an indication of your sickness. The higher vitamin C you can tolerate, probably the more free radicals or the higher the oxidative stress you have in your body. Okay, so it is the oxidative. I mean, this is going beyond the scope a little bit again. Here is that we believe, or I believe, many of us in the also molecular society also believe that life essentially is an electric phenomenon. Okay, our body is, you think it's a physical body. Actually, we're electricity. Okay, we are alive because we have the EKG. I mean, we have the electricity in the heart, electricity in the brain, electricity everywhere in your cell. Without the electricity, we're not alive. Okay, we're electrical body. So basically electricity, as you know, electricity is the flow of electrons. And so flow of electron is basically giving out, donating or receiving electron. And that in biochemistry is redox. Okay, so it is oxidative stress. I mean, oxidative, the redox reaction. Okay, so essentially, health and all disease boil down at the biochemical level is a redox reaction. Okay, it's a reaction between oxidants and antioxidants. All toxins, including viral infection, fall into this category. So chronic diseases, usually we see, every chronic disease that I have researched, particularly including diabetes, the metabolic syndrome, hypertension, coronary heart disease, cancer, autoimmune disease, they all have elevated oxidative stress. And aging, there are two major features of aging, which I'm very interested in because I don't want to get old. Life is good, right? So the two major features of aging and chronic diseases are increased oxidative stress and increased calcium burden in our body. Do not supplement oral calcium, okay? So it is this antioxidant capacity of vitamin C that I'm particularly interested in. And that is not only applicable in the acute conditions like COVID-19, but also probably more applicable once this is over in all major chronic diseases. Now, actually, Europeans are smarter than the Americans, in my opinion. The European Food Safety Authority, back, this is 14 years ago, in 2006, they already announced they concluded a cause and effect relationship between dietary vitamin C intake and the normal health of the immune system and everything else. And in 2009, EFSA again concluded that in people under stress, okay, physical stress or otherwise, there's a causal relationship between vitamin C intake. This is higher, 200 milligram per day, and between the vitamin C and also the protection of DNA, protein, and lipids from oxidative damage and normal collagen formation. Here, that's critical. Collagen formation deficiency is a major challenge to our health, where people don't realize and doctors don't realize this. Collagen appears to be only the subject of ladies' talking about beauty. Okay, actually, we cannot survive. Our body, 15% of our body's protein is collagen. Do we realize that? Do we pay attention to this? We always talk about DNA, genes, and everything. What we don't realize actually is that collagen is critical. Collagen is the cement that holds all our cells together. Okay, when collagen synthesis is deficient, our cells will fall apart. Disease will happen. Okay. Now, so here, let's talk about a little bit practical how we can prevent COVID-19. And this is of course incomplete, but at least, so from an integrative medicine view, we need a holistic, balanced, and natural ways in the prevention and treatment of diseases. Okay, this, of course, because our focus here is vitamin C. Now, for vitamin C, I recommend for prevention 5 to 10 grams at least twice a day for convenience. But if you can take divide into multiple times. Okay. And for prevention, I think twice a day is easier because it's hard to remember. I forget too. Usually I do it in the morning and at night. So the way I do it is we have these vitamin C in 5 grams per packet. It's easy to carry, and we have it in our clinic. So what I do is I put 5 grams into my glass bottle. Make sure you use a glass bottle. Do not use plastic or metal bottles. Why? Because I made that same mistake. A metal bottle, it gets rusty. Okay, it's a vitamin C is acid. I don't like plastic bottles because the acidity. I don't like to use plastic bottles to hold any organic solvents, oil, acid. Okay, and for plastic containers for solid stuff is okay, but for liquids, I like to avoid. So I expand a little bit. I usually don't like to drink plastic bottled water. You don't know how long it has been. Okay, now, so put your 5 grams of vitamin C into a glass bottle, and usually I add about 1 or 2 cups. 1 cup is 8 ounce, so 1 or 2 cups, in those sports cup bottles. And actually, it tastes like lemonade. It's not very sour. Okay, it's not bad. I like the taste actually. I think it tastes better than the plain water. So I drink it slowly. Usually I drink it over maybe 2 or 3 times. I cap it. Don't worry about oxidation. And in a short period of time, it won't happen very much. And also, even the oxidized vitamin C is useful, okay, in our body. So I cap it after I finish it. So basically, I keep a bottle and I drink it. Drink 1 bottle of 5. Actually, usually I use like a little bit more than 5 grams twice a day. Now, uh, vitamin D. Vitamin D, I didn't show here, but vitamin D is also critical in our immune system. Usually, we recommend 5,000 to 10,000 units daily. Okay. Right now, under this for the prevention of COVID-19, you may want to even go higher. And for the couple of months, hopefully it will be over in a couple of months. You may even want to take a 20 or 25,000 IU daily. Now, magnesium, particularly magnesium chloride. Magnesium and chloride both appear to have virucidal effects. It can kill virus. Okay, and also fish oil. This is powerful antioxidants. You may want to increase to 3-4 grams daily. And acetylcysteine, NAC. This is a precursor to glutathione in our body. So taking NAC, we will be able to provide more building blocks for glutathione. Glutathione is the major intracellular antioxidant. Zinc, as we all know, zinc is critical in killing the virus. And expand here a little bit. The hydroxyquinolone, widely talked about, actually is an ionophore of zinc. Basically, it's like we can consider as a cofactor that makes zinc working more efficiently. Okay, these are all also molecular concepts, and also hydrogen peroxide. We're talking about hydrogen peroxide, and there has been, doctors use hydrogen peroxide in IV. They used it in the Spanish flu 100 years ago. Okay, and here we're talking about 3% hydrogen peroxide nebulizing. So you can put hydrogen peroxide in the, like the, inhaler, like not inhaler, but a nebulizer in like asthma patients, right? So you can put a hydrogen peroxide in it and breathe in. And of course, you want to try it first. And most people will be able to tolerate it, no problem. This is very safe. Okay, it doesn't stimulate or irritate your mucosa. Early on, you may want to try to dilute the 3% and half with clean water, and then you increase to 3%. Make sure you get used to it. This method not only works for COVID-19, it will also work for your regular colds. And I have tried it personally. It works, and I have talked to many patients. And I learned this primarily from Dr. Thomas Levy, a doctor I truly trust. So try this if you can get hold of a nebulizer and a 3% hydrogen peroxide right now. Ordinarily, these are very widely available, but right now it's hard to get them probably. Okay, so if you have a common cold or mild viral infection or even mild COVID-19, what do you do if you stay home? Of course, I advise you to follow the government's advice. And here is some what I recommend at home. Vitamin C, you want to increase, like I discussed earlier. You want to take 1 to 2 grams or more every hour. Okay, this will be able to maximize the absorption. Okay, and to the degree of bowel tolerance, basically to the degree of developing watery diarrhea. Okay, so once you reach a diarrhea, you may cut down a little bit. Right before, for example, if you take 3 grams every hour, you find you have diarrhea, then you cut down to 2.5. See if it still does. Let me tell you, I have several COVID-19 patients. They can tolerate much more. That means they are very deficient in vitamin C. And I have recently just 2 patients telling me, one in Germany, one in here in China actually. They take 70 grams of vitamin C. It didn't have any watery diarrhea at all. And when they take vitamin C, the symptoms are controlled. They feel better. But if they skip a dose, they forget to take a dose, they feel the symptoms again. COVID-19 appears to linger longer than common colds. Okay, and so you should continue this vitamin C even if you are receiving IV vitamin C. Okay, and also you should continue this oral regimen until the symptoms are over, completely over. And even that you want to go beyond for a few extra days. Then come down to your regular maintenance dose. And vitamin D3, like I mentioned, you may want to, for the next couple of months, at least before summer, you may want to increase dosage to 25,000 units. Here in the northern hemisphere, we're still in the early spring. We don't get a lot of sunshine yet, so most people are deficient in vitamin C at D3 level. Vitamin D toxication is very unusual. Okay, vitamin D is very safe. And magnesium chloride, we mentioned 1 gram a day, and the fish oil, like we discussed, and NaC, zinc. You want to increase those to maybe 100 milligram, at least for the duration of this COVID-19. And hydrogen peroxide, you may want to nebulize 10-15 minutes, a couple of times a day. Actually, this hydrogen peroxide can also be used as a prevention method. I think I mentioned about it. If you go out to run errands that you have to, for example, buy grocery, and you come home, you're worried about you may be contaminated, you can use this hydrogen peroxide, nebulize, breathing a few times. And also, I normally, when I go out, I would come home and do this, and also I'll take a lot of vitamin C before I go out and when I come back, kill it, even if we catch it. So chloroquine, and if we can, get hold of the vitamin C in treatment, you may use 500 milligram chloroquine twice a day for 5 days, or hydroxychloroquine, 400 milligram twice a day for 1 day, and then cut down the dosage. And this works well with zinc. And you may well use that melatonin. Melatonin also appears to have anti-inflammatory. It is a powerful antioxidant, we know, melatonin. Okay, and high dose vitamin C. If you are able to receive high dose vitamin C, we usually recommend 30 to 50 or even 60 milligrams, 1,000 milligrams, or 30 to 60 grams over 24 hours, at least for 7 days, along with oral vitamin C. And after the symptoms are gone, and you will want to continue your oral vitamin C. In summary, so here's the summary. So I'm not going to go over this. This is all for the NIH. At the end of it is that high dose vitamin C appears to be effective, at least in some cases, in preventing viral infection. And there's abundant evidence to show high dose vitamin C is effective in treatment of viral infections, and cutting down the mortality risk, and shorten the ICU and hospital stay of viral infections. And preliminary data also appears to be the same for COVID-19 infection. And the final conclusion at the bottom of this is that Vitamin C is very safe. We established that. It has a non-specific antiviral effect. This is important. Again, I am repeating myself, is because it is able to fight against nearly every viral or even other bacterial infection. And it's important is because in the current COVID-19 and in the future epidemic or pandemics, because of its non-specific nature, we don't have to wait for a virus-specific drug to like vaccine, because that takes time. Okay, I'm not against vaccine, but that just doesn't take time. I mean, it doesn't come in timely manner. I wish we had a vaccine right now. I wish we had a vaccine 3 months ago. We didn't, and we still don't, and we don't know if we will have one in a year or so, right? And if the condition COVID-19 doesn't get under control, a year later, if COVID-19 doesn't kill us, the economy will kill us. And so this, hopefully, we can learn a lesson of this tragedy of COVID-19, that vitamin C is safe, is proactive, is non-specific, and is universal, and it's readily available, and it is very inexpensive. Okay, this is one of the very few measures, vitamin C, along with the other natural substances I talked about. These are the very few measures we are aware of that are available to us, that are not expensive. We can employ it right now, and we can employ for future. So I want to call for the leaders worldwide, WHO, the country and presidents, the politicians, industrial leaders, medical and scientific leaders. Why nobody has talked about this? Am I the only smart person? I don't believe so. I know I'm like an average person. The only thing is that I don't only look at the science, look at the true nature. That's not right now we are all in the same boat. Very few people or businesses can make money out of this. We are all suffering. So for the whole mankind, let's face this thing squarely. Okay, let the business interest out of the question. We need to get this under control so everybody can go back to their business, make their money, and make their happy life.
Thank you.
Okay, so in one of my papers, publishing the medicine in drug discovery, it's a peer-reviewed worldwide journal published by Elsevier. I asked, the title of the article is, can early and high intravenous dose of vitamin C prevent and treat COVID-19? My answer is yes, early and large dose. We always say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of treatment. Prevention is a lot easier. Like, as I shown throughout this presentation, that the increased radical outburst, the cytokine storm, is the key pathology underlying this. We want to kill it. We want to prevent it from happening. Okay, so early and large dose. Again, it's very safe and inexpensive, and there is no reason why we don't use this. And I seriously, I don't want to say this, but I think I should. Is that we talk about science. Okay, the compassionate use in the current COVID-19, is that not a part of science? Does that mean in science we don't need common sense? I don't understand this. Please do not use the excuse of science to ignore the common sense. Okay, this is a question that mankind as scientists we have to think. COVID-19 is killing us, is causing the worldwide panic, is isolating. I'm now stuck in Shanghai, and in the past, I went to the United States in '83. That's like 34 years ago. I have never spent this long time in Shanghai in the last 34 years. And I've been here. I love to be, because my parents are here, my home country, But I'm stuck here in Shanghai. There are no direct flights between US and China because the world now is all in isolation. We need to get this under control, all right? So let's use this method and others use widely and get COVID-19 under control so our lives can go back to normal. Now, I really think this is an incomplete list of the people who helped me in various capacity, and particularly those experts and doctors and scientists at the International Society. of also medical medicine who have been very active worldwide in promoting and educating the public and the professionals on vitamin C. And I truly am indebted to them. And here are my emails. And this is for NIH. I should take that down. But here are my, if you have any questions. So that's any questions, you can unmute yourself and we can have a few questions, please.
Dr.
Yeah.
Dr. Chang, how are we supposed to use the hydrogen peroxide by a nebulizer treatment?
Okay.
Because I remember when I was using that a year ago with my acute bronchitis, it was like there's something like a burning sensation, but I don't know if I did it right. Do I have to mix it with a normal saline or water? What is the part solution for that?
Well, when you start, yes, it probably takes some getting used to. So when you start, you may want to dilute your 3% hydrogen peroxide with a normal saline, half-half, and try to breathe slowly, see how you feel, okay? And but very soon you'll find you get used to it. Oftentimes it's, you know, it's probably just not used to the inhaling of mist. And even you breathing, nebulizing normal saline, you may find it a little bit irritating too to some people. So start with a diluted version and gradually ramp up. Even 50-50 dilution is effective, okay? So many people, once they get used to, just play with it a little bit. It's very safe, inexpensive, and it's one of the great measures you can try. Actually, you know, I've got that one for my parents, for everybody, even for cold. I think I do this for common cold. You use this every time you feel a bit scratchy throat, you know, you may be coming down with a cold, just do it. It will help you.
Richard, I think that's a good advice. I think the diluting, it's very important in order for resist it and to get used to it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Doctor, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have last question. I've been using, because I've read some articles at the same time using the hydrogen peroxide because they said that the COVID, mostly in the oral mucosa under the National Public Library, you can find a lot of COVID cells, tissues in your oral thing, that it stays there a lot. So what I did is, like, to prevent or even for treatment, they recommend you to gargle half and half dilution, and then gargle it, and then just like a gargle, swish and spit over your mouth. And I don't know if you also recommend that kind of stuff, but for me,
yes, I do.
Worked.
Yes, yeah, I do. Basically, as we know, the one of the mode of transmission right now is virus, you know, from cough, from the oral, you know, you breathe in from mouth and from your respiratory system. And so if you gargle, swish, and spit, and also nebulizing, breathing through your nostril, make sure you know, when you nebulize, you want to get the hydrogen peroxide both from your nostrils and from your mouth. So it will infiltrate and saturate your both systems, and it will be able to kill the viruses. And also, there maybe the hydrogen peroxide, once it goes deep into your lungs, some of it may be absorbed into the bloodstream. It may be able to have an effect inside your body. And you know, along the same line, the ozone treatment may also be effective in killing the virus. And of course, ozone, you have to invest in the ozone machine. Okay, but hydrogen peroxide is a lot cheaper by doing this.
Yeah, if you can't get none of that, people could use just salt water, but it has to be warm. Try it as warm as you can. If you can't find none of these, that could help.
Yes, you know, a lot of those mouthwashes are also helpful too.
True.
Is it okay to ask a question?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I had a couple of questions. The first was, how can we as citizens, I'm in the US, so how can we help promote your efforts? And when I mean you, I mean medical professionals who have been at the forefront of the vitamin C research. How can we do that here in the U.S. so that way we can make intravenous or oral vitamin C a common standard for healthcare?
That's a great question. Actually, let me email me those people who email me later, because well, first of all, it's mostly by spreading the truth. That's the key. And for example, like I mentioned, some major media outlet says fake news about these government's adaptation of high-dose IVC as standard care. Well, I just told you it is true here. And so there's like I said, we actually, the best way is probably through our International Society for Also Molecular Medicine. Dr. Andrew Sauer is the editor-in-chief of the Also Molecular Medicine News, and he's been very active in this. So basically, by sending these literature and this video recording, and the NIH actually, well, that's official. NIH sponsored a talk, guest speaker series. Yesterday was the first one. And I just exchanged email with Dr. Shi, Dan Shi, and Farah Zia, and they are very like the presentation, and they're gonna make it public. I asked them to send out the recording of yesterday officially, and that we can spread. Once that's out, we can spread that. And also, there was yesterday somebody forwarded us. There's a petition for FDA approval of high-dose IVC on petition change.org, and I have that link. So email me. I will forward you that link, and you can sign in and spread to others. I don't know it will help or not, but I guess if the public pressure is high, the top government will at least take a serious look at it.
Excellent.
Sure.
Yes, and my other question is if you were familiar with a 2014 study by Hussam Dabag. It's about zinc ionosphere activity of quercetin. So in essence, it's being able to get the zinc into the cell. If I was wondering if you were familiar, if you could speak to that. Yeah,
actually, quercetin and other antioxidants. And like I said, that was an incomplete list that I made up on the Integrative Medicine website. I mean, the page, the PPT slide, is that there are many other measures, okay? And basically all of these will have an effect on the treatment. And yes, the quercetin, actually, I take it regularly myself. It's part of my, I have a formula of what I call total cell nutrition. And quercetin is a regular part of it because I have allergy. And it helps. Vitamin C, fish oil, these antioxidants really help me coping with these seasonal allergy. And actually, I didn't talk about it. Lifestyle helps too. I promote low carb ketogenic diet. Any other
Thank you, doctor. I appreciate your efforts.
Sure, thank you.
In order to help zinc get into the cell, NAC can probably do that pretty much.
Yeah.
Richard.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. This is Patrick Holford from the UK. It's 2 in the morning.
Yeah. Thank you for staying up this late.
It's very good. Two things. I have two questions, but the first is more information. Tomorrow, we've arranged for the leading professor of the National Health Service in the UK, Professor Ajit Lalvani, who is professor of viral pandemics and pneumonia. He is the top dog. And the big problem in the UK, this has been completely ignored. And because we have a national health service, we don't have really private hospitals functioning in that way. Until we initiate a trial here, really nothing's going to change. And he is willing to do that, but he's going to need preliminary data from the controlled trial of Professor Peng. So that's just giving you a heads up on that, because if he gets that, we can actually get a trial going on here in the UK.
Yeah, may I interrupt here a second, interject? Before I forget, actually tomorrow, let's see, April, I think it's the April 10th or the evening of April 9th, we will have Dr. Pan online in a talk.
Yes, yes,
Okay. I
yes.
announced in the email. If anybody who's interested, send me an email. And I've been having a couple of lectures. So I'm getting a little bit confused. I think it's the 9 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time and 9 a.m. April the 10th Beijing time.
Yes.
And we will have Dr. Pan talking about it. And
Good.
also
So
talk to
if you
your
get-
UK leaders. Actually, here's one thing is do not view COVID-19 virus as a unique disease. It is just one of those viral diseases. You also understand every viral infection is a little bit different. But again, look at the key, I present enough data here. The key mechanism, pathway to severe morbidity and mortality is the same. That's the message I want to say. One of the problems of the orthodox current medicine is that we view every disease as an independent disease. We do not go beyond that. Look at the underlying mechanism. Actually, they're very similar. Like I said, increased oxidative stress. Okay, that's one major common mechanism. Again, this boils down to it's not genetics. Okay, it is the food that we eat, the water that we drink, and the lifestyle we lead, and what's in our environment. That is the predominant contributing factors to our disease and health. It's not our genetics. Okay, it's not the
One important thing, Richard, is that of all the stuff used against this SARS-CoV-2, the one that has the most antiviral mechanisms is vitamin C. Vitamin C should be the first tier of choice of treatment.
Yeah.
There's 10 mechanisms that vitamin C can be antiviral. There are 3 direct mechanisms, and there are 7 indirect mechanisms. So a bunch of them, I mean, including a direct inhibition and destruction of the viral capsid, and also the mopping of the cytokine storm, and also increase in humoral immunity, cellular immunity, antiviral proteins. So, I mean, you take a pick, 10 different mechanisms. None of the things that are being used against this virus has more antiviral mechanisms than vitamin C.
Yeah. Is this the Dr. Michael Gonzalez?
Yes.
Oh, well, let me introduce to the audience. Dr. Michael Gonzalez is one of my mentors in vitamin C. He is a worldwide expert on vitamin C. He's used vitamin C, he's published extensively, and he has vast experience in vitamin C. And thank you again, Michael, for all your support.
Thank you. You've done a tremendous and commendable job. So
thank you very much.
I really congratulate you on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So Richard, just to say that if you do get to speak to Dr. Peng, it's an absolute game changer if he can share preliminary results with Professor Lalvani. It will completely change what's happening in the UK.
Will you be able to get him online tomorrow?
That's certainly the intention, and yes, he has actually himself just recovered from 2 weeks of COVID-19 viral pneumonia.
Oh, and also
but he's very much on side, but he knows the process. Now, another question, the melatonin thing is very interesting. I'm sure that everyone listening knows something extraordinary about COVID-19, which is that it really has no fatalities below the age of 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And in Worldometer's data of 100 and whatever it is, 26,000 people, there is not one single fatality. There's a study out today in JAMA from Spain, and again, they have no fatality in children. The other thing we know is that it has incredibly low fatality in pregnant women. It's way below what's normally expected in viral pneumonia. And Doris Lowe, and there may be others, but she was the one who alerted me to the one thing in common between pregnant women, especially later in pregnancy and in children, is very high melatonin levels. So I see you've included that in your treatment protocol. I'd love you to say a word about that. But the one thing that is a real mystery to me, and this is the really important question, is at the moment the fatality rate is almost double that in men to women. and it doesn't appear to be attributable or explicable by things like smoking, exercise, and so on. So why are almost twice as many men dying of COVID-19 than women? Do you have any clues on that?
This again, you know, we see that the physically stressed men may be more active, and the men may be.
Richard, let me comment. Let me comment on this. This is Misha.
Oh, hey,
So,
Dr. Kogan, Mike, Michelle.
So,
And let me,
you know,
may I introduce you
Yeah,
to the audience here? Dr.
sure.
Kogan is the chief of integrative medicine at George Washington University, and he's treated many cancer patients, in particular with high dose vitamin C. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so, you know, we know from Genius and Mark Levin's studies that man generally has much lower vitamin C level, and smoking depletes vitamin C after approximately 2 weeks. The levels become extremely low, even with a totally normal diet. In fact, we typically exclude, it's an exclusion criteria for smokers to enter any vitamin C treatment trial because there's no point. You have to give over 25 grams a day daily to bypass deficiency. And so I'm also assuming that the men tend to just have higher rates of smoking and most of the time.
I think what they found in Italy, though, was the issue was that while there's a big difference in male-female smoking in China, I believe the study I read in Italy was that the difference in male and female is not that much, but they're still seeing the same almost double rate of fatality in the men. So anyway, it's an unfolding subject.
It may also be an issue with the receptors, the ACE2 receptors, being more in number in men than in women.
Yeah, I might add here that melatonin has been also used in cancer
Richard?
treatment. Yeah, hi.
Richard, can I have a comment here?
Yes, please, go ahead.
This is Dr. Selvam from Malaysia.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Richard. Yeah, it's a wonderful presentation. Just a comment on why children are not mortality in COVID-19 infection is. One of the reasons is they have higher levels of melatonin. That's the reason why they sleep well. And in children, their thymus activity is much better. So thymus is a very important organ for maturation. So they seem
the immune system is more, it's quicker and it's more fresh in the children than it is in the older adults.
So
the
other one is
immune system.
Pregnancy, the third trimester of pregnancy, there is also an increase in the melatonin levels. That's probably the reason why we don't see much of morbidity and mortality in pregnant women. These are some points that I just wanted.
Okay, any other questions? I think. All right, thank you all very much for attending. And if you have any emails, you can email me, and we'll try to get this recorded.